Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pod TV's number one do it yourself timeshare solutions or surrender show. This is a show where people may have issues with their timeshares, and Irene Parker, a veteran at reviewing these situations, and her team get together and they help analyze what's going on and help people find their solutions. And sometimes not every solution is exiting the timeshare. Sometimes, there are other solutions. But the one person that I know of that I just dearly love watching her work these out is Irene Parker. But I will say this, she cannot do it without her fab team. But Irene Parker, wow, look at us. You are now on episode 58. Over a year later, you're still taking the calls. They are increasing because of the exposure that you're getting, helping these people. But the one thing the exposure has helped, and we're learning, is it's actually helping you resolve some of the problems with the industry part that doesn't really want to listen to the individual people by themselves, media, basically.
Right. And we're going to be talking about the role of the media today and how sad it is that sometimes that's what it takes to resolve disputes. But before we begin with our introduction, I want to welcome Felicia. Felicia, you are New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
Okay, we used to live in Fanwood, New Jersey. And we appreciate you being on the show today and sharing your experience with COVID, because we all know somebody that has been touched by that disease. And we also have Rose, and Rose is in Illinois. And both of you have experienced medical hardships. Rose with her mom, and timeshare developers don't really care about whether moms or dads or grandmas or grandpas, but it can be just as devastating to a family as a son or a daughter becoming ill. We also have a veteran guest, Anne, who's here to support you. And the three things you all three have in common are that you're all disputing Hilton Grand Vacations, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and we also have Rose and Anne share a camaraderie, and they both retain the same exit company. And I am not of the belief that all exit companies are scams. I know a couple that are really trying to do the right thing, but in their case, it was really not acceptable. And Anne was able to secure a refund of $14,000, and Rose was able to get a loan canceled for $11,000. So whether it's a timeshare developer or it is an exit company, when they right or wrong, we don't want to talk about, provide their name. But right before the show today, Kim, you've been in kind of our undercover operative on all these outfits that call and say, buy these getaway weeks and we'll turn your money over and get you a check for $8,400. Today, I heard from a financial planner, and God bless him that he would be concerned enough about his client. And they had reached out. He had reached out in August. He had a Kingsgate week with Wyndham. Well, people have been reporting back that Wyndham is not accepting weeks back. Their certified exit will take points back. So, defaulting on maintenance fees just hasn't had that dramatic of a consequence. But he received a postcard in the mail offering $50 gift card and we'll feed you. And this was Lord's Loudon Travel in Loudonville, New York. And, this is just, he had paid the Newton Group 5 years ago to be released from this timeshare, that he has no loan. They were not able to secure a release. So these outfits that they call postcard companies, because they send you a postcard. I have one somewhere over here. I was looking for one my neighbor gave me, but what they do is they try to sell you a travel club, and in exchange for buying their travel club, they'll be able to release you from your timeshare. And in every case that I've heard about, people have ended up with the travel club and the timeshare that they're trying to be released from. So today we're going to focus on a couple of things. We're going to talk a little bit, we talked already a little bit about exit companies, but we're also going to talk about medical hardship, because an adverse life event can affect any family at any time. And it's very difficult, even with the medical hardship, to navigate out of this. Then we're going to conclude the show with some rental disasters that affected 3 people, and Kim is going to be providing a clip of someone that does have a medical hardship. The husband is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and if there's one timeshare that I would really caution people to think carefully before buying, it is Vacation Village. And Kim, can you go ahead and show us that clip? I think even though many people have not seen it yet, and it's worth telling.
Absolutely. Let's get this video going.
For more than a decade, Barbara Labby and her husband Richard made lifelong memories of their timeshare near
Can you hear it?
in Florida.
Those are worth $1 million. They're worth a lot, because memories you can't ever replace.
Vacation Village at Parkway is literally.
They bought their first week with Vacation Village Resorts in 2008, and a second a few years later.
So we've had it a long time, and we had completely paid. I could have paid it well.
Labby estimates they only used the timeshare around a half dozen times over the years, and now with her husband battling severe Alzheimer's disease, travel is no longer possible.
Here I am. I'm 82. My husband's 82, and he's not in good health.
Which is why she says she began contacting Vacation Village late last year,
And I wrote to them,
hoping that hardship would qualify them to get out of the timeshare agreement, even sending a letter from her husband's doctor.
I mean, straightforward. I'm not asking for anything.
We can't hear it, but I know it so well that I can go ahead and
You know what,
explain what
Irene?
happened.
The sound isn't there. I'm going to try to find it on another video clip. If you
It's
just
okay.
bear
Yeah,
with
I
me
think
a
it's
minute.
fine. Just to see
Hold on.
her, you
I'm
can.
going to stop that one. And the sound just isn't quite, you can't hear it. And that's not good.
You had played it earlier and we could, but basically until you get that up, the husband is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she approached Vacation Village about a hardship. And we had another family that she had asked Vacation Village to take back her Parkway, I think, Vacation Village at Parkway, for 5 years in a row, find a buyer, find a buyer. And then her arthritis was so bad, and she was in Canada, a widow. It hurt so bad she couldn't pick up a coffee cup, much less a suitcase, to travel to Florida. And then she told me she was having signs of dementia. So I got on the phone with Vacation Village, and I said, she's provided everything they needed. And I called her back, and they said they won't take it back because she talked to me. And so she was a writer. She computerized the first library in Ontario, Canada, and she wrote an article about it. And after she submitted that, they did take it back. But in this case, and Kim, you can let me know if you're ready to try and play it again. The husband has Alzheimer's. They approached Vacation Village, and the response was that they were denied because they had rented out 2024. Now, if they paid their maintenance fees of $1,200 and they rented it out, you can't have any outstanding reservations. So they could have just said, wait till 2025 or wait until the reservation. So they reached out to this reporter. The reporter showed us that Vacation Village has a BBB rating of F. They've ignored 126 complaints. And so Rose
Qualify them
and,
to get out of the
oh, here
timeshare
we are.
agreement. Even sent a letter from her husband's doctor.
I mean, straightforward. I'm not asking for anything big. I'm just asking for them to be human and have understood that. And they did.
It's okay, Kim, we still can't we still can't hear it.
I, tested this before the show and it worked just fine. So I don't know
that's
what
okay. I
happened,
think
but your
it's
story is
helpful
in
'cause
line that it's a couple who is unable to exit from their agreement due to
okay, and let's start
adverse
with
life events, and
let's
that's.
start with Felicia. And Felicia,
Are you there?
let us know how long you've
I don't
been
know.
an owner with Hilton. If I believe you have a fixed week, and did you use it? And what happened to you that caused you to have to consider defaulting on your loan?
Jeez. I've owned with Hilton since, well, it was Diamond first, and then it was brought by Hilton. So I owned with Hilton March of 2023 for HGV Max. Um,
Back up a
I
minute. Let's back up a minute. So I
mhm,
have you had a deeded week 20 years ago, though, right?
right. That was
With Gold
with
Gold
okay.
Gold Key. A lot
Hmm.
of people know the name of Ocean Beach Club, Turtle Cay,
Right.
and then what they do is they beat you up to try to get you to give up that deed and buy points. But if you do that, and you had a 3-bedroom oceanfront June, July, or August, and you converted to points, it's kind of hard to get that kind of unit in the short season.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you kept your deed,
Right.
and did you, okay, so now go ahead and take us back to the upgrade you experienced.
Okay. So like you were saying, they always wanted that deeded week, which we weren't letting go because we liked the week in the last week of August. There's a concert my husband and I will always enjoy going to. So we kept our deeded week, but then we did buy into Hilton HGV Max because they were saying that if we don't, then most of the resorts that were Diamond, they didn't want to buy it over to Hilton. So we really wouldn't have that many places to go if we kept it Diamond, because Diamond pretty much was just going to be a wash. So we, took pride in our vacations, and um, we were actually platinum with Diamond then. So we were like, okay, we might as well just go over to HGV Max. And we were at Premier Plus, which gave us a lot of other benefits. So, we wanted to keep vacationing besides our deeded week. Um, so in March of 2023, that's when we became HGV Max point members.
So, but when you said Diamond Platinum, how many times did you did purchase points with Diamond then over
We
the
we
years?
kept upgrading. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And Platinum with Diamond is 50,000 points, but they had a program called Club Combo, correct?
right. Yes.
Yeah, so
So I
you're
had another
11.
timeshare.
Yeah, so that was probably worth about 8,500 points.
Yeah.
So let's see, but that would still be 40,000 points purchase. Would you say you might have when did you first purchase? Years and years ago, 20 years ago. So in buying those points, I think it would be fair to say that that cost about $100,000 over the years.
Yes.
Yeah, most people don't add it up.
Yeah. Near the end, we actually, because we felt like, oh yeah, we're going to keep upgrading because the different benefits that we wanted to be able to use. But then we finally sat down and said, whoa, what is going on here? We're spending way too much money. And that, really came when I became disabled. Because somehow every month we were paying it, and we were paying in our maintenance fees with the credit card. But it just felt like an easy way to vacation. Um, you go on, you use the points. We were very lucky to be able to get the vacation spots that we wanted with our points. Also, a couple of people that we knew as friends, I let them use our points and, took the cash and let them go on vacation also. So, I mean, it seemed to be fine. But now, since I'm disabled, the maintenance fees went up so high. We actually calculated how much we're spending a month on the points. I'm not able to vacation like I used to. My husband's not able to vacation because he's doing side jobs to try to make ends meet. So he doesn't really have the time, for us to go on vacation, even though I have like all the time in the world pretty much, besides the doctor's appointments and rehabs and PTs and things like that. So, yeah, it's not working for us now.
And you were employed full-time before you were diagnosed with COVID?
Yes.
And what kind of work did you do?
I was actually doing like social work. I was advocating for parents that had children that had special needs.
And
So
we were
what helped
talking
them?
before, that was a flip from accounting and
Counting.
economics.
Yes, economics background, a BA in economics.
That was kind of, and now so the next question is, when did you really had no choice then? Did you reach out to Hilton before you stopped making payments, or did you just stop?
Well, I still didn't stop yet because when I reached out to them, they said they would get back to me this week, actually. So I didn't know if I should default already, or like I don't want to keep it, but I don't know when to stop the payments.
Yeah, and we
I
can't
don't want to.
advise you on
Right.
that,
And
but
in my like I don't want to be in default for them to say, "Oh, well, you just did stopped all the payments, so we're not going to work with you." I don't know. I'm just trying to feel it out this week.
well,
Until
if
our
they're
next.
and they have been working with members. One of the goals of our show is to improve communication between members and owners and developers. And Hilton has been working with people to resolve. So there's, given the disability the hardship that you're going to, I'm sure there's some likelihood. This is a fluid situation. So like Anne has been on the show a month or two ago, she was left with really no choice but to default. And so we want to try to avoid that at all costs. Now, if their answer would be no, because you do have a loan,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
So that's a lot harder than if you don't have a loan.
Yeah.
If
Well,
the answer is no, do you feel you will have been left with no choice but to default?
yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, we had a report a few days ago since our last show. Maria called, and Maria defaulted. One of the biggest scams out there industry-wide is saying that you can, if you buy more points, you can rent them out and the timeshare will pay for itself. And that's not true. So they were left with no choice but to default. She stopped making payments in November of 2021. Westgate charged it off in August of 2024. But just because they charged it off doesn't mean that they're not going to continue to pursue you. They just charged it off the books. And if you have an accounting background, you know what that's like. So the reason she called me 2 weeks ago is they're trying to buy a house. And so the loan officer saw it was charged off and wanted proof of that. Well, that's not always so easy to get. Usually I tell people just log in and see if you have access to your account. But what we did is we provided her with the results of a public records request that volunteers did. They cost about $200, did a little GoFundMe, and came up with Florida Attorney General provided 585 complaints, and nearly half of them were about the rental scam. So some lenders are human, and we feel you look more responsible by composing the report that you did. And when we were talking, Anne will be able to relate to this. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can get Anne to join us here. I'm
here.
Oh, you're here. Okay. So Anne, you go ahead and tell us a little bit. You've been on the show before, but give us a little bit of background of we know that you're able to pursue this on your own, but you've basically been told no by Hilton. So when did you stop paying, and have you been receiving a lot of collection calls, considering that Felicia might be in the same situation?
Oh my gosh, when we stopped paying, June, I think, of 2024. And we did at the beginning a couple, and then it kind of stopped. They sent us a certified letter saying that we were in default, blah, 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 blah. So we didn't get a lot in the beginning. It did affect our credit report. And then, yeah, and then recently, I was getting the incorrect reports until I got a hold of Part. I wish I'd gotten here before I had ventured out after June, but that's it's gone. So anyway, and then actually I haven't told Irene yet, but then recently on Saturday I got a thing from Hilton saying that they're going to put my property up for on an auction, and that I have
Really?
so much time to pay it off if I don't want it to go into auction.
Oh, well, congratulations.
I guess. What property? I don't have any property, but okay.
Well, that's being argued in the courts, but Florida, Hilton is based in Florida. I'm not sure. You bought in California?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think we had Jake on our show before, but Florida is non-judicial foreclosure. So there's judicial and non-judicial. So judicial is more formal, where they're going to auction it off, and sometimes they batch a whole people together. Jake said that's less expensive to do it that way. But in Florida, it is non-judicial foreclosure. So there's 4 steps. One is notice of delinquency. Second is notice of default. Third, notice of intent to lien. Third, notice of intent to sell, because they have to give you a chance to cure the debt. And
Okay.
right, which is the last thing that you would want to do. So we talk about, this is so hard on the elderly. I find they're making a big deal about the average age of a consumer is 45 now. They forget we were 45.
Some time ago, yeah.
I know that's about how old I was when I bought a timeshare. And so I want to hear a little bit now. Let's bring Rose on to join us here. And if Rose, if you could let us know a little bit about how you started with Hilton. Did we lose Rose?
Mm.
Okay, Rose, are you there? Oh,
There
there
she
she
is.
is. Okay. Hi, Rose.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. So you've heard,
Oh,
I know
I'm
you were
sorry.
like
I
not,
need to leave and join again. Sorry.
oh, no, you're okay. We can hear you.
Nope.
Oh, well, this is live TV and we never know what's going to happen on this show. I've learned that. She'll be back with us in a minute. But developers don't really care about your mom or dad or your grandma or grandpa, which is what Rose was dealing with. And I introduced her to someone that was kind of in that same situation. So here she comes. Great. All right. Uh, Here we are, Rose. I think you're fine. We could hear you before.
Yeah, because somebody just called me and then now I lost connection. So I
Oh,
have to leave and come back again. So is
I,
it my turn now?
yes, we want to hear how you became involved with Hilton. Did you use it? And what has been going on in your mind to resolve this?
Okay, so I'll tell you my story about my timeshare experience. So my timeshare is with Hilton Grand Vacation. I started in 2019. Of course, starting with the lowest ownership level. That's like it's like odd or even year. Then after that, I upgraded twice. The last upgrade was in 2022. I was told by the salesperson that I can have more access to resorts around the world and can rent the points as well. So that's why I upgraded to HGV Max. Then that time it sounds like it's really enticing and a win-win decision for me. So plus the free bonuses as well and the sumptuous dinners that they offer, not just for me but for four person. So in short, I did upgraded it during that time. So fast forward to 2023, I had a significant life event. So my divorce left me with a deep financial hardship. So that's when I started to carefully look at my finances and see what I can eliminate. So this was last year. So last year when I received the latest Hilton HOA, so the homeowners association, I was surprised to see my bill increase 34%. So initially I paid like $1,436 for HOA, and then the latest bill I had, it increased to 1,919. So the HOA year on year it increases. So that's when I realized that I needed to do something to get rid of my timeshare. So then 2024 came, another blow of trial came into my life. So early last year, my mom back in my native country was in an emergency medical situation. So which eventually led to her death. So I had no choice but to face the financial challenges in my life. So that's when I don't have much savings that time. So I opted to just take out money from my 401k. So so of course I'm already down. So but I have no one who can support me financially. So I aggressively took steps to see how I can terminate my timeshare. So that's when I availed the exit company service to terminate my timeshare, hoping they can help me represent me in the process. So my contract with the exit company was around $13,000, around that. So payable monthly of around 537 per month. So after I joined, so I met with the representative and told me to write a letter to Hilton requesting the process of cancellation. And then that's it. Then I waited
Did they
for
tell you to explain in the letter what the circumstances were that were requiring
no,
you
not
to do?
yet. I was just told to say, so request the to Hilton what's the process of canceling. So that's this plain inquiry of how to cancel a timeshare.
Well, and that was bad advice. I just want to say that,
Yes.
it usually takes them, it can take a month to respond.
Yeah.
Well, if you had just put, like you did, what you shared with me, all the details of your mom and what you were going through, and put
Yeah.
that in the letter, then you would have been one step ahead.
So actually, that's what I was explaining to them. So I said, why don't I go direct to the point? So, but said no, just do this first because I feel like there's a step by step, you know, process for them to follow. But anyway, so I waited for Hilton to reply. So it took them a month. So then I was so skeptical of the timeshare cancellation process. So I asked for further transparency on their approach. So I found out that the correspondence between the developer will just be between me and the developer. So it will just be me and them, me and them. So at the end of the day, I will still be at the mercy of the developer to approve my case, or if they want to terminate or not. So then again, I have to remind myself that, hey, Roselle, you're in deep financial trouble. So paying 13,000 for the service, is it worth it? So you can write to Hilton, you can do all this correspondence by yourself. So that's when I did a lot of reflecting on my decisions. Then that's when I encountered Tarda, so Irene. So I talked to Irene about my situation and found some owners with the same predicaments. And then after that, I researched further, look into BBB about the value of timeshare cancellation companies. Then found there are a lot of horror stories from others from other owners as well. So this then reinforced my decision to just stop paying the timeshare cancellation service. So I paid the exit company for 3 months. Then I decided to stop. I sent them a letter, and then I said I'm not going to pursue your service. So unfortunately, I'm going to stop paying. So I DIY the communication with the developers. I mean, I just did it myself. And then, yeah, fortunately, just last week, I received a letter from the timeshare company that they agree they will cancel my loan, but then they will not be able to return the money that I have paid.
You mean the
So it's
Hilton? Not
no, that's
Hilton,
that
the exit.
the
Okay.
that's the exit company.
And
So
have you heard from Hilton?
okay, so back to my communication with Hilton. This is what happened. So the response to my first letter was denied. So it's the first letter was just a simple inquiry, and that's when I had help with the exit company. So it was denied after a month. So they said you entered into a legal binding agreement in perpetuity for the purpose of vacation and enjoyment. So we are unable to cancel your contract. So that's the main statement they mentioned. Instead, they offered me programs if affordability is a concern. But for me, I'm really insisting that I'm gonna uh, request a cancellation because I don't want to pursue this anymore. So I wrote a letter providing them more context on the situation, and of course pleading them to consider my case of canceling it for good, not only because I'm on financial hardship, but also due to the increasing maintenance costs, the diminishing value of owning a timeshare, the negligible resale value, availability issues, and other costs. So all of that, I tried to really think and write all my reasons why I wanted to cancel it. But really, all of this was triggered by my financial hardship. So after a month, I received a response and said denied. So again, this is my second denial. So I responded again, providing all proofs, hardships, pleading them to consider again, but received no response for more than 2 months already. So just I think it was 2 weeks ago, I decided to send a registered mail. Then after that, someone called me and told me that my case is denied. So Roselle, we received this, but then your case is denied. She told me, but I wanted to remind you, you are 6 months past due. The longer you wait, the more your debts will accumulate. And then be mindful that over 100 days, you'll be subject for foreclosure. So your option is to look for companies to help you sell your timeshare or look for family and
Okay,
friends who wants
wait
to
a
buy.
minute.
That's what.
Wait a minute. This is what I'm trying to convince Holiday Inn, Hilton, that when they send somebody that worse, if you have a loan outstanding and you call any licensed broker, they will say it's not worth your time or mine to accept this listing. It's impossible. And so by telling you to sell it, what do? You go to the internet and there's Sell My Timeshare Now, and there's timeshares only that Holiday Inn actually referred an active duty Navy person to timeshares only that have not only inflated the listing price, and we've had Sherida's on the show where she had Westgate and Vacation Village told her, "Oh, if you list, we can list your Westgate for $44,000, so you can afford to buy here." It's nonsense. So this is why we're trying to show how the developers are driving people to exit companies. Now, you also mentioned something that very important is, where were you, what sales center, when they told you to rent, you could rent?
I was in Las Vegas. So I bought my timeshare there, but my timeshare is Orlando. So but the
Okay,
salesperson was based in Las Vegas.
so
Okay,
that
where do
is like,
you live?
and it's
Sorry?
Illinois. She
Illinois.
lives in
I'm based
Illinois.
in Illinois.
You got the best state attorney general in the world that would dog this.
Right.
Because he helped me a lot. I got to run. And Irene, I know what you say will really be helpful to her, but I've got an idea too. She's talking about how the HOA fees probably got assessed and keep going up. I would ask for an audit report of the HOA fees. How much did they go up to for your, building or unit? And how it's divided out. How many people own your unit? So I would ask 3 questions probably.
Yes.
How many people own your unit, right? How many times is it divided by 52? And how much did the HOA fees get assessed for the whole building? And how is it divided in in the building and to your unit? And the reason why I ask this is I think that they're grossly inflating each individual person's HOA fees to cover what the assessment fee was. But unfortunately, I have to run. But that would be a curiosity of mine. But I will tell you this: your state attorney general, awesome guy for attacking timeshare people. He's up there in Illinois. I love him. He was very aggressive compared to any of the others. And, Irene, I'll let you go back to battling them. You did really good on TikTok today. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to disconnect it. But yeah, so we'll
Kidding. I didn't tell you guys we're on TikTok, did I?
No.
So
You
so
just can't
conti-
keep. Yeah, go ahead with the, well, first of all, I was going to respond to Kim that I still am a Diamond member, and they sell in collections, so everybody's buying US collections now. I have Premier Vacation Club, which was ILX that they took over. And I wrote a few articles for Jim Cramer of Mad Money, his investment news service, The Street. And we put a quote in that article that then David Palmer, the CEO of Diamond, said, and we add a 15% onto every line item. That's 100% profit, something like that. Well, they were sued in Arizona and they lost. And I personally got a check for $496 that they had overcharged Premier Vacation Club owners on their maintenance fees. But I think it wouldn't hurt, Rose, for you to file a complaint with the Illinois Attorney General, because I know he was very helpful with Kim. But the problem is pretty much industry-wide, the developers feel they have to draw the line. But go ahead and finish what you were saying about renting, because did you just hear that in passing, or did you count on that to be able to help you with the costs?
I was counting on that to help me with the cost. So in fact, prior to me terminating my I mean, prior, it was in 2024, prior to me defaulting my timeshare, I did try to purchase Koala, and then I post my unit. But then, of course, if you will be posting your unit, you have to reserve it right away, and then you have to buy insurance so that, if, for example, your unit will not be rented, then you can cancel the the reservation. But then I was just so skeptical if I will be able to get a good price for that. So, but then so at the end of the day, it boils down still, even though if I rent it, I'm still financially in trouble. So I'd rather just, just officially request a cancellation of my timeshare. So that's what I did. So, but yeah, the renting thing did not really help me on this because I decided to already just stop my payment to Hilton.
If you
So yeah.
if you counted on that, then that would be, where what you would emphasize with the Illinois Attorney General. And also the answer from the developer is always, you should have read the contract. You had 10 days
Yes.
to
Mm-hmm.
cancel or 5 days to cancel, but that wouldn't have helped you with renting because
Mm-hmm.
the contract says you can rent.
You.
Now, it's important to know
Mm-hmm.
that the Hilton program, before they acquired Diamond Resorts and they also acquired Blue Green Vacations, is you bought a deeded week, just like you did. Okay, so that deeded week is accompanied by points, 5,500 for a one bedroom, 8,500 for a two bedroom. Those points are completely different from
Mm-hmm.
Diamond, the US collection points, now called US collection, that Hilton and Diamond are both selling, calling it Hilton Vacation Club. So it's extremely confusing for people, and Diamond US collection points have no resale value. So
Mm-hmm.
there was complaint after complaint after complaint. You shouldn't have bought U.S. collection. You should have bought Hawaii collection. Hawaii is so valuable. Foreign people are buying up our land. There's a limitation on how much you can develop. Those points are worth nothing either. And the reason is, if I buy 20,000 Diamond points from you, I have to buy 10,000 directly from Diamond to, quote, clean those points, to join the club, which is the ability to stay in multiple locations. Now, did you use your timeshare over the years?
Me, yeah, I was able to use my timeshare, but it's just with a limited location, usually Las Vegas, Orlando. Then I was during there was one time that I was looking to book somewhere in North Carolina, and then but it's there, the resort is there, but there's always no availability. So I was wondering, is my account, is my membership limited, things like that? Why is it that I can't? So that's where one of my dismay, the reason of one of my dismay, because why is it that some resorts are not available? I thought if you are HGV Max, then you will be able to access more resorts. So, so, so yeah. So I did use my resort in the beginning. So I did use it up. Mhm.
That's good. And availability is an industry-wide complaint, but I'm always on the other side of Anne and Lori and Kim. But and Anne, I wanted to ask your experience with Holiday Inn, because you have another timeshare, and did that, oops, I edited the wrong way. I don't know how to put you on the big screen. Oh, there's Jeremy from Destination Timeshare. Okay, Jeremy, who's been on our show before, said that Ocean Oak in Hilton Head Island is the hardest resort to reserve in the HGV system. But you said North Carolina is where you were trying to book,
Yeah, that's
Rose?
where I was trying to book. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Can you hear me?
Jeremy's
Uh-huh.
still listening. Do you know the name of that resort?
Let me see. I forgot the name of the resort. Let me find out.
It's one at Kitty Hawk, I believe. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's, oh, he said they have Hilton has 3 resorts in Myrtle Beach. So I know I'm going to try to
that's
book.
South Carolina.
Yeah, that's South Carolina. He's not sure about. Yeah, they have a resort at Kitty Hawk, or at least they did. I don't think Hilton has disposed of it yet. But again, you have to have flexibility. Now, have you stopped making loan payments?
Yeah, I really have no choice. Like I said, I'm over here. My financial, expenses is like is more than I can afford. So I have no choice but to stop paying Hilton. But I did called Hilton and then explained to them my situation. I said there's no way for me to cover the expenses anymore. So this is one of my nice to have expenses. So I have no choice but to default.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then that's what like up to now I'm still I received 3 denials already from Hilton. So I know it's my decision that I'm into this mess right now. So I deeply regret my decision for owning a timeshare. So that's why I joined this call just to let everyone know and share to everyone who's watching this show like what my experience like, and then really just my takeaway for my experience is that for someone who's considering buying a timeshare, so this is a lesson to everyone. So it's timeshare is not for everyone. So we have to think twice when you are entering into a timeshare agreement, especially if you have limited financial resources like me. So in the beginning, we can easily be clouded with happy thoughts and the promising experience that a timeshare can offer. So in fact, I think most of you can relate as well that during the sales presentation, we felt like, oh, the vacation forever fantasy, things like that. We are sold and believed in the idea of, oh, I can experience luxury for less. So plus the perks and bonuses, the dinners made it more exciting. So really timeshare companies are really brilliant when it comes to enticing people. However, whoever once you're in, I don't know, but I feel like they have no compassion on whatever setbacks you have. So so if you can fulfill your financial obligation, then you will be punished eventually in the form of bad credit. So just me, if I'm not checking my credit anymore because I'm afraid. So I know it's gonna be down. So it will just make me feel so down if I every time I see it. So
Well, you want to
yeah.
be proactive though, because there's one thing, Kim's sister is expert. She works in lending and she's a credit repair expert. And
Mhm.
what's being argued in the courts and the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Steins versus Westgate ruled that a timeshare loan is not a mortgage. And Fannie Mae said it's not a mortgage. And the
Mm.
NCUA, the National Credit Union Association, said it's not a mortgage. And so you can dispute with the credit report for inaccurate reporting. It may or may not do any good, but Kim mentioned the Illinois Attorney General. I wasn't aware that they were pitching the rental scam with you as well. So Florida Attorney General, you file online, it doesn't take much time. Exit companies do the exact same thing. Whether to stop payments or not stop payments is giving legal advice. So we appreciate episode 11. May 6 is Attorney Mike Finn, who talked about what he made the statement on there on the show, and I've heard it from, they call what they do attorney-assisted strategic default. So even if you retain an attorney, you're still going to have to default. My soapbox has been active duty service members that are finding their security clearances. Felicia, you live in Virginia. We've had,
I live in New Jersey.
oh, you're in New Jersey.
Yeah,
That's
my
right.
timeshare is in Virginia.
Yeah, there's Jeremy from Destination Timeshare. We're hoping to get Jeremy on the show again April 28th, because you mentioned Koala. We're big fans of Koala. I've always been afraid to rent on, like if you still you don't have a timeshare anymore, but you may still want a vacation, you can pay somebody else's maintenance fee and rent on Koala. So Mike Kennedy has been on our show before. And we also, on April 28th, we have Volca. I signed up for my resort co-op for $1,200. I have a 3-year commitment, and I will be transferred 48,000 RCI points. So I'm expecting to book in Myrtle Beach. Maybe Jeremy can tell me his favorite Myrtle Beach timeshare. He also asked, I think this is correct, Beachwoods in North Carolina. That's probably
Beachwoods,
what you
yeah.
were trying to, Felicia, does that sound familiar to
Yeah, that
you?
sounds familiar. I've never
So
tried to go there, but yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen it on, online.
yeah, and Jeremy with Destination Timeshare, if you go to his website, he offers, it's not his day job, he's an IT guy, but he offers tips on how to best use points and destinations. He has a number of timeshares himself. Now, just so Felicia and Rose don't feel so alone, in the last week we had 2 weeks, or 1 week, we had 3 other people reach out about their medical hardship. And these people that post on Facebook groups, oh, you should just use it, make the best of it and enjoy it. Well, if you're widowed or divorced or disabled, you can't just make the best of it and just use it. So we had Jeff, who was on our show. I was excited because he's a cameraman for Major League Baseball, and one of his immediate family members is seeking disability. He had not realized that it would take so long. Felicia, it takes a long time. Did it take you a long time to get?
It took me a long time, which I was surprised. I didn't even think I was going to be able to get it. That's why I thought I was going back to work, and I took out another loan. But yeah, it worked pretty fast for me, which I was shocked.
Maybe because it was long COVID, and that's, it's not too hard to prove that that is so debilitating, but they didn't realize that it would take so long, and then they lost her income from it. And so he is with Wyndham, and he was told that he was advised that he could rent, same old broken record
I
complaint.
was told too. You can rent it out.
Where
Yeah.
were you told that?
In Virginia.
In Virginia. Yeah, we have, and we did a public, we had a volunteer that retired from the Pentagon, and she did a public record search and found 23 sales agents with criminal records, and several of them working in Virginia, including one that was here as an agent for the Syrian regime, held 18 months in a federal facility for trying to silence, intimidate, and harm those protesting the Syrian regime. Perfect for selling timeshare. We have criminal arrest records for identity theft and forgery, and we have our military getting pulled out of kiosks to go take timeshare presentations. One of the problems is we can't make timeshare presentations off limits, because the disciplinary control review boards, like payday loans and these kind of companies, can't be within, 1 or 5 miles of a military base, but timeshare presentations are a lot farther than that. So we had someone who is active duty Navy, 20 years. His wife was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. That's the worst breast cancer diagnosis that you can receive. She was diagnosed at 34 weeks pregnant. And she was, they told, this was Marriott, and we used to get very few complaints about Marriott, but now we have quite a few Marriott, Sheraton, Hyatt complaints. And they were also told that they could get, since they were with the military, they could get a lower interest rate. This is so misrepresented, because there's a Service Members Civil Relief Act, which is if you had a high interest rate loan before you went into the service, the lender has to reduce it to 6% while you're in service, but that's misrepresented and just told. So 20 years serving with the Navy, and of course he has a security clearance. And they also said that they were told they could cancel at any time, but did not mention that they could not have a loan outstanding. We also heard from a contract officer for government control, government contracts. She has, her husband has MS. And as a federal employee, she's now worried about her job. So that one, they bought, that was also Hilton. And this was what really sent me through the roof, is the quality assurance manager, she said, showed them examples of how she makes money on the side with her membership. And I thought, this is a quality assurance person, come on. So, in listening to these two people, is there anything, and here's Felicia's back, is there anything you can offer to lend support? I think, now Rose, did you say you have stopped making payments yet?
Yeah, I stopped making payments
And
for
Felicia,
6 months.
oh, you haven't paid for 6 months?
Yes.
Okay, and Felicia, you have not
I have
stopped, but
not. My last payment was the end of March, so I won't be making one in April. I'm hoping to hear from them to see what they're going to do. But April, before my next payments due, I will stop.
right, and I never leave a show without talking about when people are in default. My ICE agent story, where the collection agent would call him and he'd say, "I'm so glad that you called." And he'd try to keep the collection agent on the phone as long as he possibly could. And he sort of turned the predator into the prey, and he'd say, "I had a bad day at work, so when I got home, I sent the executives 50 tweets." And after 18 months, he became such a headache. And we have, to close the show, we have 2 minutes. We had, this is all it took for Tom to get Wyndham Cares to reach out to him. It took 2 years, a pickup truck with a big sign that he drove up and down Daytona, and then he drove it all the way to Orlando, driving up and down by ARDA, the American Resort Developers. Wyndham was in the running for the highest excellence, and he was upsold the first time to rent, and Wyndham's programs don't work very well, so he was upsold again, told, "Call this company," and it did work. And then Wyndham issued him a cease and desist letter. A member of 20 years. He's one of 3 people that this happened. So, Anne, do you have any words of wisdom and what's the name of that furry friend, guest we have on the show today?
Meet Zoe.
Zoe.
This is Zoe. She's a
Uh,
little
Hi,
attached to
Zoe.
me.
So
Anyway,
these
yeah,
little collections we have of people on the show become support groups. So I always panic about somebody's going to get the wrong time zone. So we have a text group of everybody today, and stay in touch with each other. Let us know how it's going, and come back and on another show and let us know how it's going. Any final words from you, Anne?
hang in there. You can do it. It's just tough. You have to have the time and the patience and just hang in there and do it. And it is hard. So I'm proud of you guys, because that's why I think a lot of people go to exit companies. They don't have the time or the energy to put into, you know, getting back your timeshare, dealing with all that. So, but Irene has been, like I said, look at the pod TVs. Look at our stuff, because there's so much information. I have learned so much from Irene. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's like taking a class.
And you
So yes,
offered to be a volunteer, so let us know, Felicia and Rose, if you want pay it forward and be a volunteer to support others. It looks like we're out of time. I see that our other producer, Mark, is behind the screen, but he might be tied up with some other shows. So here he is. I believe he's here with us now. Hi, Mark. I'm glad you get to meet everybody.
Hi, Mark.
Hey,
We're
Mark.
over time, but your family went real quickly. Background in radio, correct?
That's correct. They had a background in radio, community radio, and started a radio station in Warren County back in the late 70s, like around 76, until it was on till about the mid to late 80s, but definitely involved in that. Also had mom ran one of the large trust funds that was some of the tobacco settlement money and all along those lines. So she was the first president of the Golden Leaf Foundation, which tried to get people out of the tobacco industry and was definitely involved in that space of activism. So that kind of work that you're doing is very important. And I come from a family of activists. Dad was involved with the creation of the Malcolm X school, which was here in Durham, North Carolina, which is where I'm based at, and everything like that. So definitely that civil rights struggle and civil rights activism is something that has been very dear to me, which is why I love your show, because I love this activism spirit of holding people accountable when they are doing wrong and all along those lines. So definitely that is why this is one of my favorite shows, and I'm glad to see that we've got these amazing people that have been in the conversation with you, because I've been in the background listening to Rose and hearing about her experience, including coming from a Latin American country and all along those lines, as well as what the other young lady was going through and everything like that. So it's always good to hear these great conversations, and glad to see that we've got different folks. And unfortunately, it seems like it doesn't, that it impacts across all kinds of boundaries. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman, black, white, or brown, or whether you are definitely different economic classes as well as orientations and all of that. The timeshare folks that are doing negative things are targeting across the board and all along those lines. That's why we got to have people like you that are doing this great advocacy work and making sure that they are held accountable.
Well, thank you, Mark. And we're a couple minutes over here, so I guess you're going to hit the
I'm gonna hit the
screen.
magic button. This is the beginning and the end of the show. So great seeing all of you great folks. And we're going to get on out of here because I'm going to press this magic button so we can end this show in another great episode.
Thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.